of children that they were expecting. And so what we need is research on under what conditions are communities willing to invest the time and resources to participate in these institutions of accountability or direct participation in decision-making that you set up. And I think this goes back to the issue that was raised a bit earlier, is that what's missing for many of these groups that are out of the provision of services, etc., is a lack of trust. Why would they participate in systems that have been set up when there is no trust in local government? And sort of addressing that fundamental problem seems critical to try and see if inclusion can be achieved. The second point is sort of obvious here, is that accountability or participation demands, if you're going to generate demands for good governance, need to be complemented by attention to developing capacity on the part of urban local bodies. Because if you don't do this, it can lead to frustration or even reprisals towards those who are making these demands. As a colleague of mine puts it, you need to work on both sides of this equation, sort of generating demand and ensuring that there's supply. And for this, you need institutionalized channels which are regular and have some credibility over the long term. Maybe the first time you don't have them working, but in the future you can. Okay. So these are sort of comments on the papers themselves. I will quickly say something about what I think might be areas that the chapters themselves don't focus on, but are important areas for further research. I think overall, the chapters in the collection focus on inclusion, mainly on the poor as a category, as an undifferentiated category. And of course, that's an important category, the poorest and the most vulnerable. But I think there's a need to look at other vulnerable groups as well, who might be excluded from full participation in urban life because of the kinds of designs and policies that we promote. The first among these, I think, are women and women-headed households. This is for reasons of urban safety, for the access to services, etc. We know, for example, from the census in India itself, that women-headed households were among the most likely not to have access to a toilet within the household and be without access to drainage of wastewater. So clearly, there are sort of processes of exclusion happening here. The second category, I think, is that of children. Children's voices almost go unrecognized in urban planning and policy needs. A recent